Human Rights Amendment Bill, second reading.
Mr Speaker.
The Honourable Amy Evans.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Human Rights Amendment Bill be now read a second time. Mr Speaker, can I begin by thanking the members of the Justice and Electoral Committee for their thorough consideration of the bill. The committee has recommended that it proceed with amendments. The Human Rights Amendment Bill is about strengthening the performance of the Human Rights Commission by giving it greater flexibility to respond to emerging human rights issues. The bill clarifies the Commission's functions and powers and enhances New Zealand's ability to comply with our international and domestic human rights obligations. The Human Rights Act currently requires there to be commissioners for race relations and for equal employment opportunities. However, it does not allow for the creation of new formal leadership positions in other areas of human rights, such as disability rights. To address this inflexibility, the bill provides for the appointment of a Chief Commissioner and up to 4 other human rights commissioners. Commissioners will be allocated portfolio responsibilities which must include race relations, equal employment opportunities and disability rights. Having a commissioner formally responsible for disability rights is a new move and will enable the Commission to more effectively exercise its role promoting and monitoring the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The Minister will continue to appoint commissioners in the 3 areas specified in the Act, but the bill will enable the Chief Commissioner to designate commissioners to lead work in other areas. This important change will allow the Commission to establish other formal portfolio responsibilities in the areas that it considers most important without further amendments to the Act. I note that submitters to the committee generally supported the objectives of the bill and the addition of disability rights as a formal portfolio responsibility. I'm aware that some submitters were concerned that the changes would dilute the Commission's role in leading and promoting race relations and equal employment opportunities. Mr Speaker, I can assure the House that this is not the case. In fact, the changes will enhance the Commission's leadership role in protecting and promoting human rights. There will still be a statutory focus on and an identified commissioner leading the work in race relations and equal employment opportunities. Added to these areas will be disability issues and any other areas which the Commission identifies as a priority. Specialist criteria linked to each priority area must be considered before a Commissioner is appointed. This ensures that a Commissioner appointed to lead work in a priority area holds relevant specialist skills. This further enhances the Commission's leadership role in these areas. The bill also moves some functions of the EEO Commissioner to the general functions of the Commission, giving the Commission a clear focus on equal employment issues. The bill also clarifies the functions of the Commission. It explicitly states that the Commission's functions include promoting racial equality and cultural diversity, equal employment opportunities, and the rights of persons with disabilities. Submitters were also concerned that requiring the Commission to consult with the Minister about its priorities would compromise its independence. Mr Speaker, the requirement to consult the Minister about strategic priorities is not new. Clause 11 carries over the exact same requirements to consult the Minister which already exist in the Human Rights Act. The independence of the Commission has continued to be recognised internationally as demonstrated by it receiving the highest level of accreditation from the International Coordinating Committee of the National Human Rights Institutions, and this bill does nothing to diminish that. This continuing requirement to consult the Minister does not mean that the Minister may direct the Commission. The Commission will remain independent and its strategic direction will continue to be set by the Commissioners acting together as currently set out in the Act. The bill also revives the Commission's functions to ensure Commissioners will be able to freely express their views on relevant matters, including commenting on state sector practices, bills before the House, and acts passed by this Parliament. The bill also revises the Commission's functions to ensure Commissioners will continue to be able to freely express their views on relevant matters, including commenting on state sector practices and the like. I would now like to briefly touch on some of the changes that the J&E Committee has recommended to the bill. The committee has recommended changes to the bill to clarify that the Chief Commissioner can now only designate new priority areas in accordance with the Commission's strategic direction as determined by the Commissioners collectively. This was always the intention behind the bill, and I support changes that will make it clear. This change addresses, I think, Mr. Speaker, submitters' concerns that the Chief Commissioner is being elevated above the other commissioners. The committee has also recommended amendments to the commencement and transitional provisions of the bill after considering concerns raised by the Regulations Review Committee. The bill, as introduced, was to come into force by order in Council. This was done so that if the existing number of commissioners exceeded the maximum allowed in the bill, commencement could be delayed until the term of one or more of the commissioners had expired. The committee has recommended, however, that the bill be amended to come into force on the day after it receives royal assent. To make this possible, the transitional provisions have been amended to allow the number of commissioners to exceed the maximum set in the bill initially. This will allow existing commissioners to finish their term and ensure that the 3 priority areas are always covered. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to support the committee's changes to the bill, which I believe are sensible and well considered. I'd like to thank them once more for their work and also thank the Human Rights Commission for engaging constructively with the committee throughout its consideration of the bill. The changes made by the Human Rights Amendment Bill will lead to a stronger performing Human Rights Commission. It will give the Commission a clearer focus and enhance its leadership role in protecting and promoting all our fundamental human rights. Mr. Speaker, I commend the bill to the House.
Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Jacinda Ardern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to take a call on